Hello. Just starting off with some classic solo streamer audio balancing, because this is what we gotta do. It's what we gotta do. Just gotta make sure you can hear me decent enough. Gotta make sure everything is running as best as it can, and we'll get a move on. We'll get going. Try this and we will get going. We will get started here. I think this should be fun. Just double checking everything's working super slow, which we of course love. Everything is freaking out, which we always love. But what can you do? You know, 'tis the life we live, is it not? Hopefully things can we're gonna go with this, and I said volume off. Thank you very much. Okay. Turn my phone's on my way. Hi. Salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Sikiam Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, and this has been a long time coming. I finished this in quarter one. Being real honest, I had everything ready to bang this out and then do my quarter two, my quarter one summary stream, and then things crashed. Everything crashed. All of my progress on my thing was just on my quarter two presentation thing was just deleted. And when I tell you that knocked the absolute wind out of me, but you know, we try and move on. We try and move on. And that is what brought us here, to finally talking about Everything for Everyone. This is a very hard book to talk about, but actually before I get too distracted, got to do our morning announcements. I swear one of these days I'm gonna have it's gonna be a whole thing, but again, wind out of me. First and foremost, if you like books, I also happen to write those. These two books, links are down below for them. This is on the right is my new adult romance, Montany and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible, and on the left is the first book of my YA spy series, The Queen of Thieves, linked down below. Down below, you will also find links to a spreadsheet that has GoFundMe's and other mutual aid links for people in crisis areas all around the world, including Haiti, Congo, Sudan, and Palestine, and many other places. There's a very long list. You will also find links to non-Zionist graphic designs programs. Canva is Zionist. They shut down groups. I believe it was when I get the morning announcements things, I'll have the whatever article or information that explicitly explains what they did. But I believe they had shut down work of someone who was making like pro-Palestine stuff on Canva, and Canva like tanked their account or something in that vein. So we've got some alternatives. I make my graphics and stuff on Inkscape, which is not online, which is its own, that can be a challenge. It's not online, but I do, after trying to get my stuff out of Canva, very much appreciate having all of my files like explicitly as my files. Can I turn on the light? Should I turn on the light? Out. Okay. There's different places around the world are going through different stages and different aspects of collapse, and so you have all of these different stories happening. With a lot of it is centered around people who are currently in these New York communes, but they've been all around. They come from all around. They have learned from all around. And a big part of what's great about this book is with all of these different perspectives, and especially with perspectives that don't, hold on, let me see. Weird. Okay. With having all these different perspectives, and with these perspectives that cover like so many different aspects of where in the revolution they begin and like what they're touching on, it helps to make all of these ideas and all these like concepts for the future feel so much more tangible, which is the idea of like, you need artists to help paint the picture of the future, because then it makes people feel like it's all real. It's something that we can actually achieve. And they do a good job of that in this book. There are so many stories, which is, again, going to make it hard to talk about. It's like talking about every short in an anthology, but I wanted to scream about this book for a little bit. Excuse me. Like, there's some of the things that really stuck with me in the book is you have the major ideas that a lot of these places end up living in communes, which is just groups of people living all together. No capitalism, no fucking barter system, because that's the same goddamn thing. It is just society wholly focused on the idea of, I just want to make sure that everyone around me gets everything that they need. I don't need anything in exchange in return. If we happen to give something to each other because this is the moment in time in which we are both together, and that is a time in which we can give both of each other the things, we can do that. But it is not oh, you forgot my thing, you don't have my thing, you're not getting yours. I would never withhold your needs to ensure my own gain. And I believe that's even some of the rules that are held in a lot of these communes. You must give up power, you must give up property. Oh, there's a third one. Do I remember, or do I see the note or highlight? I took so many notes. I have 20 pages of notes on this book, and these notes will be up on my Discord. I swear to fucking God. I promise you I'm gonna make it. Let me... You must give up power, you must give up property. God, I forgot what the third thing is, but there's 3 things. Alas, read the book and you will know. Was it just property and power? Maybe it was just property and power. I thought it was the third thing. Oh well. But yeah, you had these communes. Everyone was just giving each other what they need. One of the big why am I blinking? One of the big things that was present was they just offered 3 meals a day for the entire community to sit in this lunch hall and eat together. And that not only helped, ensure people got food, people got fed, but it also was there and helped to ensure that people were interacting with each other, around each other, getting to know each other, forming community and bonding with the people around them, the people in those communes in their community. There is a they have non-nuclear family dynamics, and so you have kind of just the parents, the family of a child is whoever like kind of volunteers to take care of the child. You have rights and like actual effort being put into ensuring that a child is safe from said parents if that becomes an issue, which that is one of the stories that ends up happening in the book. And there's a lot of effort into ensuring that not only is the person that caused harm to the child like getting like in like consequences, they're getting consequences, they're being put through therapy so they can learn what the fuck is going on, what's causing this, so that way they don't cause harm to others. They're being like surveilled because they've harmed people, and now they like, we're going to make sure you don't hurt people anymore. If you're gonna stay here, you gotta agree to let us make sure you don't harm anybody right now. And they also just ensure like what they constantly are checking in on the child, and she was really young at the time, checking in with her. What do you want? Which is sounds like fucking magic in this world, to be fucking fair. They have a house that is just for teens and just for kids to live in. There's like one adult for them to contact in case they have emergencies, but the adult does not have power over them. Some of the older kids like help some of the younger kids out, help them find their way, help them learn, but there is not the kids have a space to go to if they need to be away from adults, if they are not safe with some of the adults that they like do know, if they just need space. They have a teen space that gives them their own guarantee of autonomy. They have their own rules, and again, absolutely fucking unheard of to allow teens to have fucking space. Unheard of. I live in Chicago. The idea of letting teens have a place to exist, oh my god, fucking magic. But again, just giving them space, giving them autonomy, treating them like real fucking human beings. You have dissolution of the education system as we know it, because it sucks. I heard Esmeralda Gwendolyn described it as the plantation model, and onto something. But they go about, if they went into a lot of detail about how the education system looks now, I don't recall it much. I do know it, like, they're not sitting in fucking classrooms being yelled at in groups of 30. You also then, I think actually, if anything, a lot of the focus that I remember of what they're talking about with regards to education in this utopic feature is a lot of self-education, a lot of people not necessarily having a hierarchy of you've been at this longer than I have, so you are better, but rather like, hey, you're someone, I have a question, here's someone who can answer the question, teach me. And there's self-learning. There is a lot of like reading textbooks and learning that way. There's like mental health and trauma, handling trauma and stuff like that is something that's dealt with a lot through what people have self-taught and self-learned about trauma and handling that through the experience that they're going through. And it's done in such a way that does really it critiques and challenges the education system that we have without dismissing the need and the value of actually having expertise. It just does. The central education system, the central way that the imperial system tells us we need to learn, is actually just not the only way we need to learn. And so it shows a lot of people. And hold on, disconnected. Okay. Pausing 2 seconds because everything seems to have crashed. There's a storm coming that I wasn't aware of, because there could be a storm coming that I wasn't aware of. Are we back? We might be back. We could be back. Let me get a drink, and then we'll continue. Okay. But like I was saying, these are people. These are real people who are describing not only the world that they currently live in, the communities and the communes that they've currently built, but they're also describing like the experiences that they went through to get here, to get freedom. And everything's crashing. I am going to need to end soon because this thing keeps crashing. It's great. It's great. It's great. I do have several things that there were several things that did bother me in the book. I hated how they handled the concept of public health. Specifically, they have like a little reference to COVID. I forgot what it is. It's like SCARS 18 or something very explicitly related to COVID. And I really hate how that was handled, because it, like, that, the way they used it in the book and the way they talked about it in the book itself was an example of how eroded people's understanding of public health is. Because in the book, it is similar to COVID, mass spreading, mass killing, mass disabling, and it's spreading extremely quickly. And it's also triggering psychosis in people's. Like, it's like a highly, highly transmissible disease, killing in massive numbers and triggering a psychosis. And I can't understand how someone who I have no explanation for why someone would actually think that a disease that spreads quickly, kills in large numbers, and triggers psychosis is just going to pop in and out, and it leaves no ramifications. There's no consequences from those experiences. There's nothing happens. It's just a little offhand, oh, that was something that happened at one time. People in mass are getting psychosis and then dying. That hasn't affected anything, hasn't affected anyone in any way, shape, and form. Like, that screams back to normal propaganda. And it feels like such a wild way. It feels like a wild misunderstanding of public health, but also it feels ableist in the way that they just kind of throw psychosis in. It is like, let's make it a little extra spicy kind of way, without actually handling what that means and what that would do to people, not only who had experienced it, but people around you who are not only trying to like support you through a psychosis, trying to protect themselves from the psychosis as well as the fucking disease. Like that bothers a lot. That bothers me a lot. That was something we talked about in a like group discussion of the book. The other thing that really bothered me was the way they talked about fossil fuels was just kind of goofy. So the issue with it is that there's two prongs to this. There's two prongs to the issue that I have. One is we start off with first in the story, in the timeline, not timeline, but the first interview we get is of someone who is working on a space needle, which you have to use fossil fuels to get to space. And they're using fossil fuels to build the space needle, because if they build it up to the stratosphere, like up to or above the stratosphere, they build it really, really high, like that high. And once they get to that point, then you would need a lot less fossil fuels to actually get into space. And that was the calculations they did, and that's why they approved building the space needle. So you have that story. We know in this world they do not have airplanes because they cannot get airplanes to function without fossil fuels. And then out of where you have this ecologist who's like, we don't, like, fossil fuel companies aren't making us use fossil fuels anymore, so we can use a much more efficient source of energy like the sun. It's like, okay, but you in your world have not made the sun look like a more efficient source of energy. Like, you quite literally have not been able to accomplish the things that we have accomplished with fossil fuels with the sun. Like, it's okay to say fossil fuels are terrible, but they accomplished the fucking goal of getting people from point A to B. They accomplished the goal of getting a bird in the sky. It's okay to say that they had their uses. They were able to make effective actions happen, including, like, you couldn't, in your own words, in your own story, you could not have built that space needle without using fossil fuels. You cannot get into space without using fossil fuels. It's okay to acknowledge that and not, like, say that we were all, like, our arm was twisted. If our arm hadn't been twisted, we all would have been using solar power by now. It's also, it feels also naive to think that, like, if fossil fuels have not been used as it had not been used as a means of producing energy, it feels naive to think that they would not have